Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Dennis. So this week we're going to tear apart a GPU. It's the RX 6800 XT. We're going to see what's inside. We're going to see if we can reapply thermal paste. And then we're going to see if we can get it working again. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we have three fans here. There's two screws. There's one here and one on the other side. Okay, it's kind of hard to see it, but we're going to take those out so we can get started. Mainly because I know the fans were making quite a bit of noise. So getting them out will just make it a little easier to do things. Hopefully they're not too big of a pain to get out. They don't seem like they're coming all the way out, so just be aware of that. So it turns out there's three screws. One here, here, and another one there. Once you loosen them all, we can get them out. So there's a little cable on there that's fastened to here, so let's see if we can get that off. So once you get those three fans out, the cable is actually fastened here. So you have 1 and 2. So I don't know if the other ones are going to have these on there or not. So you're going to have to disengage in here and pull those out. So I do have a little tool that will hopefully help me do that. It's this little jobby here. And that should let me pry up on these a little bit. Like I say, I'm going to try first to just pull on this cable and see if it'll just come out. Again, I'm trying to do it without breaking anything. So, you can't reuse it if you break it. Oh, is that coming? I'm trying to be careful here. Oh, okay, that one came out pretty easy. Now I just got to get the other one to do the same. This one's on there a little bit tighter, but yep, there we go. So we got that out now. So once I got that out, now I can probably lift this out. These cables are going to have to feed through here somehow. Let's find out. Okay, so that doesn't have anything to do. These don't have anything to do with this fan. Thought it might, but and I can tell, you can see here that it's fastened on here, but how do I get that off? Can I disengage this? Like I say, I don't want to pull this apart, so I don't want to force it too much. I'm going to try a little bit, but hopefully it will. Nope, that's not going to come out. And again, we don't want to break it, so we are going to have to find out how this comes off. Okay, so this looks like it comes off here, but I don't want to. You have to be super careful, because if you break it, well, we're definitely not going to use it again then. But so is that? No, that's part of the cooler that's on there, so that's not coming off. I don't know why this is not letting up. So anyway, you have to disengage those anyway, so we're just going to leave it at that. Can I try these other fans and see what I can do here? See if I can get them to come out. There's a third fan is right on the top. Hopefully I'll have a little bit better luck with these. Does this one come out? Oh, they do. And there is another cable. They're all connected somewhere here. So I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to leave that the way it is. We had to disconnect these either way. So I'm just going to hold these in place. And we're going to start from the back. Oh, one of the screws came out. That's okay. We're going to do the back first. We're going to take this off. I think if we do that, what will wind up happening is after we get all our screws out, then we won't have an issue. Now they put this on here for warranty, but if you push down on there hard enough, now I don't have a warranty on this anyway, so I'm not risking anything, but just be aware that you might be. And they are on there. Oh, very, very tight. I might actually need a different type of screw. Okay, anyway, let's take our shell off first. Okay, that's a little bit easier to get off. We'll do this piecemeal, if you will. A little bit at a time. So So far they all look to be about the same height, so that's good. One on the bottom. Yep, the same. So kudos to them to using all the same screws. That way you can't get them mixed up. And we'll have one here. And a couple more here. By the way, if you were going to do a different cooler, you would want to do this very thing. Because you can buy kits, I believe, that let you put a water cooler under these. So I think we have to take this off. So don't do any of what I'm doing here, because I don't really care if I can't get this to work. Well, I do, but not that much. So I don't want, I'll show you. You can watch as I go along and see just how much of this comes off. Okay, so I think this is all, yep, so that comes off. There's our back plate, in case you ever want to see the inside of it. Nothing too spectacular about it. And now we're at the back of it. Now, I do want to take this off as well. And we got a whole bunch of screws here. I'm going to leave this, I'm going to leave it on for now. But I think I will wind up having to take this off. So, I still think I have to take this off if I need to, but did that come off? I think there's two more. Oh, center screw. Yeah, they're not coming out, but they're dangling on, so that's fine. Wow, do we have to take all these out? Well, let's take them out. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a bit smaller screwdriver maybe, because they seem to be getting smaller and smaller as I go along. I'm using a screwdriver from a Precision screwdriver set. So it fits pretty well, but because a normal standard screwdriver is not going to do the job, especially if they're on there tight. And we have a couple more. So I've taken all these out. I got one more here, and I got two here, and then we'll get this back plate off, and we'll go from there. So far they've all been the same screws in the different areas. Just be aware of which areas. Separate your screws if you plan on putting this all back together, of course. And using a magnetic tip will make your life a whole lot easier. Okay, so this should come off now. I don't think I missed one, did I? This is off here. Oh, so it's fastened on here somehow. Let's see. Let's have a look. We're going to turn this. Oh, right there. Okay, so we're going to have to undo that. So this comes off now. In actual fact, I think I really only probably needed to do these two screws. Oh no, there's screws there too. So yeah, well, I had to take them all off. Alright, how much closer are we to being able to get these, even to get this apart? Not very, to be honest, because this is not going to come up without taking these other screws off. So that is what we're doing next. All these screws. Let's hope those are relatively painless to take off. Now, because those are pretty much the same size, but I'm going to set those aside in a different location so I can put them all back on. And that's one of the other reasons why you film this, by the way, as best as I can. So when you take all these screws out, we'll do a little stop and review to make sure I can put them all on the back in the right spots. Because if you don't do that, you're going to have some problems maybe. It's always fun to experiment with this stuff though. When you got nothing left to lose because, well, it's not working anyway, you do what you can and see how far you can get. And this is tedious, and it does take a while. Okay, so what happens now? This come off. It starts to, but I think these are holding it in place. So we're gonna have to, yeah, we're gonna have to take those off. Then we're gonna try those fans again. So do the fans last. Just a suggestion, but totally up to you first, what you do, or if you do it at all. Okay, so I had to get a little small flat precision screwdriver. Again, they were in there very tight, but I did undo this one. This is the one that's got the little warranty thing, and I want to show you this underneath. There's a little spring on there, so let's undo these first, and you will see as I undo them, the spring will kind of pop them up anyway. But it is it's a little tricky. See how they pop up? And I'll show you that a little bit better here in a minute. My suggestion, try and keep those screws in place and just lift it up. And then underneath you can see there's springs on each one of them. I'll bring that closer so you can see it. Okay, see those screws? Alright, so I'm just going to set that aside. Back onto here. Now everything is off, so I should be able to lift this off. And if I can't, well then this will require a bit further investigation. And that's why I like this little tool, because whether it's popped on there with, okay, it's coming up okay. There we go. So I just pried it up with this to get it to come off, because it's being held on by, yeah, this. So there's our CPU die, or GPU die I should say. And these are where our pads were. Here you can see them here. And what we're going to do, I'm going to take this. Now they say you can't do this, so maybe this won't work. Maybe it was a complete waste of time. I don't know. But we're going to find out. So there's the complete overhaul. Now I have replacement ones to put on here, because these will probably just peel right up. It's quite a mess actually. Yeah, so that's going to be a mess. I'll take that off and I'll replace it with new, and I'll show you that here shortly. So they had the thermal pads here. I've kind of wiped them all, got them all off. Although I don't know what benefit that is, because it doesn't seem like it's actually doing anything. So these are 1mm thickness, right? And they come in these little sheets. You can buy them from Amazon or anywhere like that. And I'm just going to use that to replace the one that was there. Even though I'm not entirely sure I really need one. Do I need the whole thing? Let me see here. The paste that was on there though is bad. There is no... It basically is disintegrating. These are a little bit bigger than what was there. So I mean, it can't really hurt. But yeah, it's we're just gonna replace them. And once this is the die, GPU die, I believe it's called. Like I say, I'm not a graphics card expert. All right, so take this all with a grain of salt. This is basically just a teardown, but I will give the bonus material if I can get it going. If not, well, you saw the teardown. And this doesn't really matter as long as it covers it, whether it's perfectly straight or not. It makes absolutely no difference. In fact, I don't think it makes a darn bit of difference anyway, because really, it's not doing anything. I don't know what benefit it had. So anyhow, let's put that back there. At least it's sticky enough to mostly. Alright, that's our first one. These come right off, but they're not really all together. It's okay. I just think the stuff we're putting back on is going to be far superior to what is coming off. Whether it makes a difference or not, I really don't know. And because that one's a little bit wider, well, the beauty of this is you can break it down and just bend them in half or whatever you need to do. So that's what we're going to do. It wasn't perfect before, so it really doesn't matter if it's perfect now. So again, we'll try and take all this off in one piece if we can, but be careful that one. Yeah, it kind of comes apart in my hand as I try and take it apart. Anyhow, I'm going to replace this, and then I'm going to skip this so you don't get bored just watching this part, and I'll be back when it's all done. Okay, so this here I replaced. It's not pretty, but it puts it all the spots where it was before. I have to clean this off here. Okay, clean that completely off. I'll use 99% isopropanol, and then I'm going to clean this all off. Then I'm going to apply thermal paste instead of what they've used. I'm going to spread it out nice and thin and put it all back together. So you've all seen thermal paste put on, but I'll show you that when I go to do it. And just taking this off. Now I believe when they did this, they used, let me just see here if I can even get it off. Yeah, it's like one of those pads that you can get. So you're going to come off. Maybe not so easy, but if I can get my fingers underneath there, you can almost kind of pull it off, but not quite. Anyhow, I'll get that all off. I'm going to probably have to take my time and peel it all off. Probably just like this. Once I get it all off, I'm going to apply thermal paste. I'll show you that. And then we'll put it all back together. But I still got to figure out those fans. Because one of the fans is one of the things that was doing a coil wind. Maybe just by loosening them off, maybe putting them back on, it could fix it. Unlikely, but it's possible. And anyhow, this will be a little bit better than what was there. The other stuff was completely dried out. So that tells me maybe it'll help. We'll never know until we try. Anyhow, I'll be back after I clean this off, and we'll put on our thermal paste. Okay, so I used a little prying tool, and this all comes out. It's all one big piece. It's like a little silicone pad or whatever you want to call it. Came off pretty easily. So now I'm just going to clean this, clean that, and put on some thermal paste. I don't have the tool that I thought I had, so I'm going to use this little gadget here. Okay, I'm just going to use that to just kind of smooth it and put it on okay. So I used rubbing alcohol compound, 95% ethanol, topical antiseptic, useful for a whole lot of other things. This is cleaned off now. There was a little bit of this on there, so I had to scrape that off carefully, not to try and scratch it. Use the rubbing alcohol compound, clean that off. This is as clean as I can get it, but just not bad. But yeah, it's pretty good. Now we're going to apply the thermal paste. So I'm using Noctua's thermal paste, NTH1, to apply it. Okay. So we're just going to put it on here. Hopefully that's enough. But we'll find out, because we have to spread it out. It's a little different than doing it with the CPU, so we're going to spread it out and see how it all goes. So I want it to be very even, so that's what we're going to use this for. Hopefully this works okay. This is not exactly designed. See, it's not exactly designed to go on this way, but it's kind of working. I just have to be as accurate as I can be. Try not to get this all over my hands. You want a very thin layer. Okay, you don't want like an excessive amount. All right. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I use all that I put on there. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that amount. Got a little bit down here, but it's not going to hurt anything. And now we're going to start putting it back together. All right, so just put those back on. All right, so we're just going to turn this over. Hopefully you get this right. We need to line this up as best we can. Oh. Okay, that's pretty good. There we go. Now we'll start putting our screws back in, and we'll see where we go from there. So I put this on first. No particular reason, I just wanted to do that first. Because I took it off last, I might as well put it on first. So now I'm going to start putting in our screws, all these different places. That's what I'm going to do next, and then we'll put our back plate on. Okay, so something I wanted to point out that I got wrong earlier is I thought the positioning of the screws, there was some missing. No, what I made a mistake on is when you look at your back plate, right, screws, so when you line it up, okay, you don't want to screw here because you're going to put it in here. Same here, same here. These two screws here, leave those blank, and then same thing on the bottom. All right, the holes that these are going to go into, you have to make sure they're left blank. All right, so basically we're going to put this all back on and fasten it all down. And once that's on, our back plate's on, and we'll put this on as well and put it all back together, and then it'll be testing time. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. Okay, so I've got these two screws back in, and these three, and those three. Now, they're all exactly the same size, so you really can't mess it up. So the other thing I had to do is put the two fans, the connectors for them. I'll show you that here. So the connectors, I put them back on. I used a pair of tweezers to put that on there. But these fans are really dirty actually. So I'm going to try and clean them a little bit as well. I was not able to figure out how to take them out. And I feel like that should have been something pretty simple, but obviously I'm just not there. But I'm going to keep playing with it. If I figure it out, I'll show you. If I don't, well, I'm going to put the back plate back on. This piece right here. Only I got a few screws. And once that's all on, I'm going to put it in the system and see if it works. Or if it works right. It did work. It just didn't work properly. And it would screw up with only a few seconds. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to put these fans back on. I never did take this one off. I'm still going to play with this a little bit just to see if I can take it off. Have a good look at it. But maybe when it was on before it was too tight. Maybe that's why it was making a noise. Anyhow, I'm going to play with it. You may or may not see me put that back on. Other than just put the 3 screws back in. Yeah. Next thing you'll see is the testing it. Okay. Gravity skirt is in the system. And the system's working. And obviously I can see a display. There's no coil whine on the fan. I think that actually just worked. Now, I may need to add a driver, but we'll find out in a second. It's obviously doing some updates of its own. No, I don't want that. Okay, well, so let's try a couple things. Let's just open up a web page. Okay. Okay, that seems to be okay. I'm just trying a few different things. Maybe we'll do another test. I'm going to let it run for a little bit, and I'll come back, and we'll see where we're at later on. Right, everybody, so basically the graphics card I think is working, but this is a system that has the 5800X CPU, and it's caused me so many issues over the time. So system ran for a while, graphics card, everything seemed to be working, and it's like the CPU just froze up. In fact, I'm getting a CPU error message. So I think the graphics card is good, but CPU is like gone. I'm having to replace it. Anyway, I've got the 5800X 3D, so we're going to replace it with that, and then I'm sure this will probably work. But if nothing else, the one thing I can 100% verify did fix, removing those fans and putting them back on, even though I wouldn't have thought it would make a difference, when the fans are full out spinning, there's no more coil whine. And it's displaying on the screen. Everything is coming up. Everything seems to be fine. I did get that blue screen of death, but it's related more to the CPU than anything else. So, as far as I know, it's working, but I can't 100% verify it. But, you know what? It's working, which it wasn't working before, and the coil line's gone, but it'll require a little bit more testing, and maybe I'll just leave a comment in the community guidelines there thing, so you can check that out, or I'll put it in the description. That's what I'll do. Put it in the description, and once I've 100% verified as to whether it is actually now working. Anyway, this is just meant to be a teardown of the Radeon 6800 XT graphics card. Show you what it's like. The thermal pads were all replaced. They were terrible. They were doing nothing. And I think that's why it's working now. And I think it's why it seems to be working. Anyhow, that's the video. If you like it, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, think about subscribing. Hit that bell for notifications for videos as they come up in the future. And as always, thank you for watching. And leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Take care. Have a good day. Thanks for watching once again. Bye-bye.